Welcome everyone to Planetary Health First, Mars Next. This is an awesome, amazing day. We got Jenn, and she is doing some amazing work. This is Jenn Kerfoot, and she currently is the Chief Strategy and Growth Officer at DUOS. And she has a really amazing, cool background. And I think her secret power, not her kryptonite, her secret power is that she's former Navy. And not just former Navy, but she's been in the field saving lives as a med corpsman. So anyone that's doing that, there's something about them that there's always, it's just, she'll get into that, I'm sure, through the talk. But I don't want to go reading line by line her bio. She's come from the payer world. She transitioned now into the vendor, just supporting all the members because she understands the needs on both sides. So take it away, Jenn. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And thank you so much for saying yes today to come on our show.
Well, thank you so much, Michael, for having me. It's such a great day. I'm always excited when I get to talk about the amazing work that we're doing at DUOS. But a little bit about me. I grew up in Eugene, Oregon. My mom's a U.S. history teacher. She actually was my history teacher. And my dad worked for the VA. And like you said, I was a Navy corpsman, which is a really interesting world to live in. Active duty, deployed to Afghanistan in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, which seems like so many lives ago for me. And now I work kind of behind a desk. And today I get to work from a couch in this beautiful office. But it's just been quite a journey. I went to the payer side. I was the VP of Ops at a Medicare Advantage health plan. And I really am passionate about star rating systems. And, really how do we build collaborative, successful teams that can really address the ever-growing needs that our members have. And now I'm here. So excited to talk to you this morning.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by and being here. And what I love about the fact that you've been there, you've been the one on the other side of the table, finding out, advocating for your members, making sure that these companies and organizations that are entrusted to support millions, hundreds of thousands of lives work. So tell us a little bit about now on this side of the fence, what it's like.
Everyone says, how are you liking being at DUOS? And, one of the things I say is, this is where all the things that I wanted to do, all those big kind of dreams, or you probably have done this in your life where you say, oh, you know what I could do if I just had one more person to help me do this or one more resource. DUOS is really where all the things, all those little side notes that I wrote down in my notebooks when I was at a health plan, I get to see come to life. Because when, you're really in the day-to-day grind, doing just the administrative actions associated with running a health plan, those things that might be a little bit more innovative or push the envelope, they really have to go by the wayside just because there are so many things that you're having to manage. Whereas being with DUOS, we're able to really support our payer partners in that kind of really wrap around member engagement, top of the funnel, making sure, members really understand the intricacies. I was having a conversation the other day with an individual at a plan. They say, Jenn, there are days where I don't even understand the acronyms that we are using internally. I totally understand why our members don't understand what we're trying to ask them to do. And so at DUOS, we're really able to contextualize, but also personalize health literacy and information for members.
Yeah, I like the personalized. Tell me how you're doing that.
So one, I say you got to start way upstream with kind of the data that you have. So one, it's kind of like members, they shouldn't have to say, this is who I am, all of those kind of checking boxes. I think we have to get out as an industry at large of treating members transactionally. I had a member once tell me, shouldn't you know this? You're my health plan. Why are you asking me these questions? And so going upstream and partnering with our payer partners to be able to say, what is the data that you do know about your members? And so as an example, they have the DTRR feed. And so they're able to see, a lot of different components of a member in terms of their eligibility. And so we're able to work with the payer, contextualize it in terms of these are the knowns, these are the categorical knowns. So, new to Medicare, new to your plan, if your members switched from an HMO to PPO. And so then we have these kind of segments and those overlay, and then we can offer that personalization at scale. Because unfortunately, while we all wish that we could, talk to Michael or talk to Jenn or, one of my good friends in the industry, that's just really not scalable as we enter just a really difficult economical time for payers, but also service providers like DUOS. So we have to make sure we're leveraging technology effectively so that we can scale and really do the most good for the individuals that need it. In terms of being able to call. So by more individuals being able to access digital solutions, the individuals that might not be technologically literate or just need a little bit of extra one-to-one, they have that capacity on the phones.
So the real truth of source is you're really leveraging the phone. And I guess probably, would we say almost 80 to 90% of the population has a smartphone too? Or so?
Absolutely. I would say, I think the pandemic, yes, a lot of individuals became more technologically aware, technologically literate. We saw an increase in telehealth utilization, as well as I think Amazon just, grew exponentially and really set an expectation for members of that kind of consumer experience when it comes to interacting with technology. I will say though, you have to look at, statistics can, sometimes be deceptive in the sense that if you look at my grandmother, she might be one of those tally marks on digitally literate, when in reality it was me during the pandemic being like, Mom and Grandma, look at the nice man on the phone and talk to him. That I wouldn't say my grandmother is technologically literate, but if we look at the numbers, it's going to show her as such. And so making sure we are really making sure people understand the technology. And so for us at DUOS, what we've done is essentially built really a really accessible digital front door that lowers the barrier to entry for engaging with us digitally. But also recognizing, you can't have health equity without tequity, that not all individuals have access to a smartphone or broadband internet, or they might be on a limited data plan. So exclusively offering a digital solution, it's not going to work all the time. And you got to make sure that you're looking out for people on the fringes that just might need a little bit of extra support. And so having this SaaS service model at DUOS, we're able to really meet people where they are in their health journey, but also their technological journey.
So tell me, what are you doing to get your word out there to your partners and to not be, I guess, there's so many organizations, companies that want to partner with the Medicare space, the Medicare Advantage space. It seems that it could be a very crowded market. What makes you different?
A lot of times when we were earlier talking about Tom on my team, our VP of Health Solutions, they'll come up to Tom and I and they say, what is so great about DUOS? Like you said, this space is so saturated. And sometimes I like to smile, depending on who's asking the question, and say, we deeply understand Medicare Advantage, value-based care, and managed care. There are no startups in this industry. You really either have it or you don't. CMS doesn't care if you've been doing this for 2 years or 20 years. It's all about compliance, understanding, setting up a really strong compliance program, and then executing in good faith. And so the other thing that really differentiates us at DUOS, and like you said, it's a very crowded industry, is working with not only individuals at health plans that I've known my entire career, but also really leveraging thought leadership and helping plans understand, the headwinds that are coming, how to address them, and how to really work with the limited resources that they have to effectuate the greatest amount of positive change within their membership.
Well, you nailed it. I think when you said value-based care and then also understanding the Medicare and then the compliance, so you got multiple customers. So it's really the biggest customer is the health plan, and of course, servicing those members of the plans. So tell me, what are you guys cooking up in your little, for 2024? Because Medicare is always revolving. Tell me what you've got in your little special sauce, if you would.
Special sauce. Okay. For 2024, we're working with many different members around really addressing some key barriers to their health. We hear a lot of times non-compliant members, gaps in care, when in really there are no gaps in care. There are barriers to care. Um, you know, Members don't wake up in the morning like, what sounds good, just like not taking care of my health. Usually there's something that's preventing them, from, getting to that appointment, from understanding why it's important to get their colorectal cancer screening. And so with Duos, the member is able to first and foremost address what is their need. And then we're working with them either digitally or telephonically within the confines of their goals. So I'll use kind of what we're like a good example of this would be when I was working at a health plan in fourth quarter, we'd call our members and say, I know I haven't talked to you all year. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but could you go get a colonoscopy? Obviously, because colorectal cancer screening is a HEDIS measure that applies to star ratings. That's a bad experience. I don't know about you, but if that was me, I'd be like, I don't really like that. And so instead of working, very transactionally, when our plans are working with us, we deploy campaigns that are very relational in an orchestrated way that first works within what the member is trying to accomplish. So a member might say, they see a campaign that says, talks to them about an annual wellness visit. And then the member identifies that, I don't want to think about going to the doctor because today I am food insecure. And so, we are going to work with that member either digitally or telephonically to, connect them with their health plan, healthy foods card. Sometimes members, don't even know the benefits that they have at their fingertips. But should their health plan not offer them a healthy foods card, we also have a network of CBO safety net resources where the member can go to a food bank, and we'll make sure that they're going to that food bank and getting, support. And on top of that, really connect them to the resource that was supposed to, carry them in between their health plan food benefit and food banks, which is getting them enrolled and understanding how to utilize their SNAP and EBT benefits. So it's the connection of their health plan benefits, CBO community resources, and federal and state resources. That sea of goodwill, if you think about it that way.
Yeah, I love how you say that. It's like you are using all the knowledge and resources and leveraging that, but really the trust, you're listening and understanding those members at each individual, wherever they are. I mean, with a colonoscopy, from a personal experience, it's the prep that's real fun. You just sleep right through it. I can tell you, I've experienced one, and
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, exactly. And we reach out to friends. Hey, should we do this? Should we do that? And it sounds like you at DUOS is really connecting to that member and really leveraging your resources, and that relationship value of trust is really powerful. So what else, if there's a few things that you feel that people should know more about that, what would you say?
I mean, I would say that, something that's so unique about DUOS and our entire team, for us, it's really personal. Every single one of our team members, we have a story and a connection to another person who's needed a hand in navigating like the overwhelming complexities in healthcare, and no one can do it by themselves. If you think about it, everyone in some way, you, me, all of us are reaching out to the universe, hoping someone is going to reach back and say, I got you. And unfortunately, for a lot of members in these difficult times, they just simply don't have someone. And a lot of times they're reaching out to their health plan. Their health plan might be constrained with resources and not be able to address their social determinants of health needs, or that acute need they have in that moment. And so in partnering with DUOS, we're able to support those members in those difficult times. And I know that you had shared when we were talking about your father and some of the things that he's gone through. And I'd love to learn more about that as well.
Yeah, thank you. Well, my mom's 85, my dad's 91. Right now, my dad is on hospice, and it's been the best thing for him in our family just because of that wraparound full total care. My mom is, gosh, I like, so how are you doing? Well, the chaplain came today. I said, well, what did you talk about? I mean, just the fact that you have a chaplain coming periodically and helping. But what I thought was so important for my dad was what it looks like you guys really do with some of those, just knowing your members, was the actual, when I was prior to his journey in hospice, it's the mobility. So he's been on a rollator, rolling walker, and there was a time where he would not shower. And it's really, as you have dementia, cognitive impairment, he was not able to articulate in a way. He's just afraid. He's afraid of falling. And so a shower bench was like, and getting him transitioned safely. And then, man, I'll tell you, once he's in there, it's 15. Dad, you want to get out now? So it's that, getting the house set up. The home modification was a huge thing for falls, and just those little things make a huge thing. And it sounds so trivial, but still he needs help with that. We have a caregiver, but that was the thing that I thought was really important. So I imagine you are able to, just like you said, with SNAP benefits, food benefits, it's those sort of things that I think really make a huge difference.
There's so many things out there, and sometimes that can be overwhelming. You see a lot of predatory ads. I got one this morning. They're like, "You didn't pick up your package." I'm like, "This looks like a scam." But for a lot of individuals who might not know that and have that support system, it can be very scary, and that can be overwhelming, where it sometimes feels easier and just not to simply take an action. We're here really to support the member, and also to support their caregiver, the individuals that are also, really trying to navigate the complexities as well. And especially for your father, something as simple as that shower bench, to address his fear of falling, made the biggest difference in the quality of his life. A lot of times we see in different articles about what's the ROI, the burden of, healthcare expenditures. I always like to think about it in terms of like, how do we even begin to quantify, quality of life of one day that's better, being able to get in the shower and feel safe. There's not a dollar amount attached to that. But it really makes the biggest difference, not only in your father's life, but I could tell it when you're telling that story in yours as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then just setting up the home from bed to they're in an apartment now that's more conducive. But he has the raised toilet seat, which, I mean, it's another silly thing, but man, just he's able to do that on it. He's able to get himself up and go to the restroom, and that little 10, maybe 15-minute, or excuse me, like a 15-20 foot walk is now pretty safe now.
No,
So anyway,
I'm so happy for your father.
yeah. So Jen, what are you seeing on this year? It's 2024. What are you really excited about? What are you guys engaged in conferences? Any sort of new customers, or anything that you can say? Some of that stuff you can't say because it's in wraps, but anything that's coming on? I mean, it's still January.
There's definitely a whole lot of football left to play in this year. Although I feel like the first couple of weeks of January felt just really long for some reason. In terms of where we're going to be, I'm actually on my way to the Rise bid boot camp. We're going to be talking about all things supplemental benefits, all things about bid submission. And from there, we'll be going to the Medicare Advantage Leadership Innovation Forum. That's put on by Strategic Solutions Network. Really excited to connect not only with our health plan partners that we have, but also, other thought leaders within the industry. 2024 is really a year of transformative change, not only for us at DUOS with the growth that we're seeing, but also our partners, with all the changes to star ratings, as well as, gearing up for some of the bigger provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act in 2025. And of course, going into election year, which always makes everything feel a little bit crazier than it should be. I think that what we're going to see is a lot of regulation change. The OIG released their compliance toolkit in August over the summer, and has openly said that Medicare Advantage now represents over 50% of all Medicare eligible beneficiaries. The exponential growth, compliance regulations really have to scale in turn. So I think we'll see, especially on maybe the C and D enforcement activity with CMS, with audit season, some individuals seeing some maybe stress, but I think that pressure, you can't make a diamond without a little bit of pressure. And I think that this is really shifting the industry at large towards that goal of health equity. It's no longer just kind of a moral imperative; it's a financial imperative now with the health equity strategy that CMS has attached to financial performance with health equity index. I think it's going to be a lot of change, but I think it's change that ultimately you and I and all of us are going to be, beneficiaries of, because we're really getting to be the architects of what we're going to inherit when we retire. And so excited to see that change that's going to come.
And so are there any concerns you have that you're seeing that aren't moving enough in healthcare?
I have to tell myself, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. That's what the Navy SEALs say, at least. And not to be impatient of, wanting things to move faster. I think that goal should be for not only, us at DUOS, but all organizations is, are we one, being better as an industry to the workforce in terms of how are we really cultivating and mentoring a group of individuals that they can take the wheel when the next retires, who's gonna manage health plans for the next generation. So I'm looking at small things with great love, as Mother Teresa would say. The other thing is trying not to be too impatient as well, seeing change in terms of rural health, in terms of offering really, comprehensive support to individuals who really need it, both really speaking to health equity in terms of maternal health and underserved populations. Really excited to see how the 1115 waiver program in New York rolls out as well. So I think that there's a lot of good things that people are working on. And this is going to be the year of breaking down silos and collaboration, and especially within the new physician fee schedule, seeing CBOs, payers, providers, everyone work together. It's not that it has to be all on the payer or has to be all on the providers. It really is going to take all of us working together. And I'm so excited to be at DUOS, where I get to work, really with all the kind of constituents at the table.
When you talk about all those things, there's so many things you shared about, and how do you find the time? You seem so driven, so passionate.
So I recommend to anyone read Atomic Habits. I do 52 books a year, so that's book a week. This year, my goal is to split that. Last year, I just read things that would help me in my work life, but now I'm trying to kind of work on that balance. And so reading things outside of that, which I think is good. We always want to be growing. And then really, I recommended Atomic Habits, making a routine. If you look at, highly successful individuals and what they do, waking up early, the first time you do it, it's terrible. 5 a.m., it hurts no matter how old you are. Waking up at 5 a.m. was painful when I was in the military and in my 1920, and it's still painful now that I'm older. But waking up, setting that routine, and also cutting yourself a little bit of a break, I think also helps. And saying, today I didn't get everything that I wanted to do done, but what did I get done? That kind of keeps you going. We're kind of the hardest critics on ourselves. And then making sure that you're really building a strong professional network, connecting with individuals. If, there's so many things that you can read in a day, and saying like, hey, did you read this? What's the TLDR? Sometimes you bury the lead in the article. So like, can you just tell me the summary? But also, staying up to date in terms of what, CMS, HHS, OIG is putting out, really understanding foundationally the guidance and the regulations. CMS doesn't put anything out for their own health. If they're doing something in one area, it's probably maybe going to set up some ripples in other areas. We see that in the new Part C and D reporting requirements that came out. And then ultimately looking at proposed rules for 2025. You see a little bit of that mentioned in the margins. So making sure that you're able to read in between the lines, the tea leaves, but also, just connecting with the professional community at large is important.
Yeah, I'm so glad I reached out about your organization, DUOS, and it was first with Tom, and he's like, "Man, you got to have Jenn on. Jenn is awesome," and he's so right. You have this infectious, positive energy, and you are a thought leader. There's a reason why you not just have one title, you have two. The chief strategy and growth. And the strategy comes from all the time that you've been in the trenches, not just as a med corpsman, but in the health plan field, understanding, and then knowing with that knowledge, how to lead the area of where DUOS needs to go with the partnerships and growing. And I'm really excited that you said yes to this. I feel charged. The fact that I see there's this highly connectivity in the world, the fact that I listened to a podcast today and the podcast talked about atomic habits. I know I have it somewhere, the book, I've read it. I don't know where it is, but it is great about pairing. I love the thing. If you're brushing your teeth, put something, that's, we would hope we'd all brush our teeth, but right. You use these things that are already done and you just add new things. And and then last night I had someone air on behavioral science, and I'm sure that should be a book. So everything is connected in the universe. I'm a big believer once we keep on doing that, where we're forming those relations. And so where we are right now on this show is we're about towards the 70% done part. And where should we go if we could, Jenn, to get the message out? What is the most important thing we should talk about right now?
Well, one of the things that we're really, really excited about at DUOS is that in December at the Star Ratings Masterclass, we launched Connections for a Cause. It's really was driven by our unwavering belief in the transformative power of connections. You just said, talking about the connection of listening to the podcast and hearing Atomic Habits. The idea came from our incredible AVP of field marketing, Courtney Best. We were at a large healthcare conference, and looked around the expo hall. And if anyone's ever been there, it's just a sea of booths. And I said to Courtney, where do all these go after the show ends? Because you can't bring your booth like other shows. And we looked around, we asked somebody, and they said, oh, these all go in the trash. And so I took out like a screwdriver I had in my pocket and I disassembled the booth. And I'm like, take this home and use it as your Zoom background. Because we spent money on it for it to go in the trash. One, that's, just bad for, landfills, but also it's just terrible. And then did some quick back at the napkin math. We realized, you could actually solve one of the problems, that people on the stage were talking about with how much money was spent, for about $25,000 a booth, over, hundreds and hundreds of booths in that expo hall. You could actually, do some real impact. And so when we were kind of ideating the booth, and, we're at so many events for, meeting with our professional colleagues in the industry, thought leaders. We wanted to do something a little bit different. And so that's where Connections for a Cause was born. And so instead of coming to our booth and getting some tchotchkes or some like a notebook or, I've seen a whole lot of plastic stuff you can get at a booth. You instead, when you come to see us, and please, if you're listening and you see us, please come up and say hi. You'll get to take your hand at playing. It's like a Plinko game, and you'll get a DUOS dollar. And when the puck goes into a bucket, we're going to take that dollar and we're going to donate it to a community champion. And so for our next event at Bid Bootcamp, that'll be U.S. Hunger. That's doing a lot of great work around food insecurity. And so it's not that we are spending more money and donating it. We just are, with intention, allocating what we are going to spend that we otherwise would have spent on notebooks and plastic dongles to actually go towards the community. And we're really excited. And so to date, it's really, really incredible. We've been able to contribute $5,250, and we've had 8,000 meals donated to individuals from just that one event. Our first kickoff event at Star Ratings Masterclass.
An unexamined booth is not worth living, right? I mean, really, I think that's just fascinating, our practices and just re-examining what we're doing and making the right impact. Gosh, $25,000. Who would have ever thought the average booth would cost that? And but I'm sure there's a whole booth business cartel. So
no, there is. The things I've learned about
yeah,
booths and trade shows
yeah.
and logistics. If you had asked me when I was in, sitting in the Navy, like playing my guitar in Afghanistan, being like, "How did I get here?" You said, you're going to work in an industry called managed care. I've been like, I don't know what that is. Is that like TRICARE? That doesn't sound fun. I'm going to be in the military forever, but here we are.
Well, I'm glad somehow you stumbled across getting into managed care. I know we still use that term. I'm sure soon it will, we're transitioning to other terms because it's, anyway. But we are coming to that point. We've had a great show. And I am so glad you came on today. And I know we had some questions back and forth. Is there something that we were talking about in the green room or looking at that I need to get out there that I missed?
No, if anyone ever, I would say we have to, as an industry, democratize a shared lexicon. It's something I'm really passionate about. A lot of times people will just, stop me when they see me at a conference, say like, Jen, like, could you explain this to me in a way that doesn't use 15 acronyms? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, we make some really big concepts a lot harder than they need to be. And if we want to, we can go fast alone or we can go far together. This work is gonna, it's gonna take us far, but we need to, be more collaborative. So, I always say if anyone, has a question or I say something and they're curious about what that means, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or send me an email. And thank you so much for having me, Michael. I've really enjoyed speaking with you today. Big fan of the show.
Yeah, thank you so much. Will you guys be at 5?
We will be at 5.
So I will be there. Planetary Health First, Mars Next is a media. They've been approved. And I don't know if they got the wrong application or whatever, but it was great. I put it in, you've been approved. So I have my confirmation. So I would love to have someone from you or whoever, your team, if we could do a live broadcast there. I know you're going to be super busy, but hopefully we can, I hope to see you there. Or will you be there?
I will be there. Our CEO and one of our co-founders, Carl Ulfers, he will be there. So we'll definitely be stopping by. We wouldn't want to miss your inaugural debut at Vive. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I have no idea. I'm still trying to find out what's going on, what this means. I guess the signal will be coming in the next 1 to 2 weeks. I reached out. I said, now what?
Yeah,
so
right.
anyway. Yeah. So now I have to get like a real podcast gear other than doing it through my virtual. But Jen, I feel like you are really moving through things forward in healthcare, and it's been really great to have you on today. I wish everyone well on Planetary Health First, Mars Next. Until next time, friends, it's been a great time having Jen on, and wish you the best of success.